successful selling. Every day, you've got to think about what your mission is, and that takes the right amount of preparation and communication. You've got to sell, and that means delivering a positive, patient-focused message about Prozac. And finally, nobody acts unless you ask. So you've got to ask for the business and follow up. But being a winner and staying on top takes more than that. It requires hard work, passion about your product, and the right attitude toward embracing the competition. DGAs around the country are proving to be winners with Prozac by doing what it takes. Pat Riley knows what it takes to be a winner. As a coach in the National Basketball Association, his teams have compiled the highest winning percentage of any in professional sports. He's been a part of 6 NBA World Champions. Recently, Pat sat down and talked about the importance of preparation in winning your battles with Prozac.
The only way anybody is ever going to develop a confidence is through preparation. I talk about that all the time with my players, and they will say, "Coach, I'm ready. I am ready to play." I'm ready. I said, everybody's ready to play. Everybody wants to play, but they're not prepared. And there's a big difference between being ready and being prepared. And the only way you're ever going to develop confidence is that, one, you have to know exactly what it is you want to do as an individual, what your company has to do, what the team has to do. You have to take great pride in it. I mean, you have to understand the product, you have to understand the competition, and if you're working against the Celtics, or if you're working against the Bulls, or if you're working against Zoloft or Pax, it doesn't make any difference. You will only be confident if you bring to the board what you have prepared to do. And so the only thing I can say about confidence is that you want to be a confident person, you better know what you're doing. You better practice it, and you better read about it, and you better get it in your psyche, and you better carry it out there to the marketplace, otherwise people aren't going to believe you.
Above everything is attitude. And I know with my team, we just really have the drive to win.
You can't expect a customer to believe that you're the best if you don't believe you're the best. And I think with Prozac, it's very easy to believe that.
If we weren't a good product, they wouldn't be gunning for us. And that's what really drives us. We know that we're number one and that we're the best, so we just have to keep everyone at bay. And we have so much information to prove that.
85% of the patients that start on Prozac finish in complete therapy. 4,000 clinical papers. I mean, these are things that the competition cannot dispute.
I don't want Zoloft to win. I want us to be number one. When you see the Zoloft rep, it's like the enemy.
My teammates are just unbelievably committed, and our communication is just been excellent.
Because I want to do well, and I don't want them to do well. So that's what I keep at the top of my head.
And then challenging your customers and asking them for accountability and raising the bar, bottom line.
It should be one of the most exciting times in your company's history, because there are a couple of other products out there, like the Boston Celtics against the Miami Heat, or the Chicago Bulls against the Miami Heat, that you have to embrace this competition. That somebody out there is going to try to bring out the very best or the very worst in you. You know you have the best product. The product has shown over the last 7 or 8 years that it is the best. But how do you stay one step ahead of the pack? And how do you stay one step above and beyond year in and year out? Just think about Zoloft and think about Paxil and think about how excited they are to try to climb the mountain, okay? They're trying to climb the mountain after who? They're trying to climb the mountain after Prozac, okay? And so the attitude that a person takes or a team takes simply to become more and more competitive is this, is that you don't ever want to merely be considered the best of the best. You want to be considered the only ones who do what you do. And there's nothing wrong with being unique. And if you are unique, you don't ever let anybody come up and try to steal that thunder. You just don't.
Everybody is shooting at Prozac because it is the best. It's the market leader. It's the gold standard. It really kind of pumps you up, and it should.
There's times when I would like to go home at 4 o'clock, or I'm just tired by the end of the day, but I know that my competition may be tired too, but they could be making one more call. And so that's going to motivate me.
If I'm going to do something, I don't want to be in the middle or the bottom of the pack. I want to be up near the top.
Doctors have said this to me before. I know they've said it to my partners. You really believe this, don't you? You're not just saying it, you believe it. And that's the highest compliment a doctor could pay me, because I'm getting my message across.
The doctor is hearing a lot of information that I really don't think is that credible, to be quite honest. And think that that's part of my job, to go in and set the record straight.
Plan your messages and go in there and implement and ask for the business.
To me, teamwork is the essence of life. It isn't about you, okay? If there's an acronym for teamwork, togetherness, equality, attitude, meshing, we, organization, roles, being kindred spirits to one another. You gotta believe that. You know, a lot of people today don't believe that. A lot of people believe what they pick up in the morning and read or turn on when they listen to a television, because all you hear is how it cannot be done anymore. All you hear is how people don't want to work together anymore. All you hear are comments from people who are part of teams as to, this is what I want to get out of what I do. And they lose the focus on what the whole concept is as far as what it is to be part of a team. And so one day you simply have to focus in on this again and declare, am I either in or am I out? I mean, do I want to be here or do I not want to be here? Getting people to focus again is really getting out of themselves and their dilemma and their problems, and the competition's too tough, or Zoloft and Paxil are going to get us in a week or 2 weeks or a month or whatever it is, and all of a sudden they get this doom and gloom feeling about something bad that's going to happen. Well, I can guarantee you it will happen if you have that kind of attitude. And when you bring the focus back to its center, the focus is trying to help those people who feel that way on your team to get out of themselves and get out of that dilemma and get back to the program that allowed you to get to the top. And it takes a lot of hard work, it takes a lot of discussion, but more than anything else, it takes a real belief in what you're doing. So it's togetherness, it's equality, it's attitude, it's meshing, it's we, it's being organized, it's playing a role, but most importantly, it's being a kindred spirit to one another when it comes to the competition, making sure that you're not going to allow them to ever get above and beyond you.
Perry and myself keep in touch like every day. So we talk a lot, and as well as with our CNS overlap, Susan.
It's a great tag team. You know, if I go in there one day, we let Melissa know what I talked about, what we need to follow up on, and she's in there the next week or couple days with that information, and I think it really shows that we care about them.
I know that every day that we're out there trying to make it happen, that our competitors are. And I think that's the thing that really, you know, kind of gets me up out of the bed and makes me do the pre-call planning, is because I know that, you know, as our regional director would say, the snakes are out there trying to steal your business.
I just don't think anybody can do this job by the seat of their pants. They really have to invest some time each day in planning.
I've drilled these reprints into my head enough to know exactly what I'm going to say, but that means taking the time to truly think about your message, form the words that you're going to use, practice it over and over and over.
One of the things that's unique about Melissa and I is that we do tend to, you know, get together and practice detailing, and we learn a lot from one another.
When we feel that we need something new to re-energize our message, we sit down and say, hey, it's time to, let's practice some more things. Maybe you're doing something different from what I'm doing, and we try to make sure we keep each other in the loop and that we're talking about different approaches. So maybe he would have a good idea or vice versa with a certain customer.
We have a very systematic way we write team notes now. We'll start off with the patient, like an anxious, depressed female.
This is the patient we're talking about. I'm sure that you might see her pretty often, a female that's trying to juggle everything. We don't just record a call. We document progress in our notes, and we give each other direction and maybe a good next step to follow up on. Again, rather than just saying what we said to the doctor, we try to focus on the feedback that the doctor gave us. When you're in his office, you're in there for a reason. You're not going to waste his time. Prozac is going to help her do exactly that. You're going to provide him good information. You're going to provide a good service. But you have to set that precedent, or else the doctor is just going to ask you if you want a signature, and that's going to be the extent of the visit, and that's not selling. At least 2 of us call on each doctor So we're team selling each doctor, whether it be two of us or all three of us. By having a different face in there, it gives you a right to give another complete message. That's just another opportunity for us to stress the positives of Prozac. I think more than competitive bashing, we do competitive comparisons.
It's an opportunity then for you to better position your product based on something that your competitor said. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to ignore a weakness that the competitor has, but as long as I'm positive through the entire message, that certainly will stimulate dialogue with the doctor.
I can't imagine trying to sell Prozac without using a detail piece or a reprint. The bottom line of this study was 1 in 3 of every Zoloft patient called, 1 in 5 of every Prozac patient called. If I'm going to make claims, then you better believe that I'm going to have at least one detail piece on that visit to be able to back it up. It all goes back to I can prove it, and how else are you going to prove it unless you show documentation to the doctor that what you're saying is exactly true.
I think what you got to do is you got to go in there with a proactive message and then kind of draw out, well, now that I've given you, some of the reasons why Prozac is the best, would you offer it first?
When that patient comes in and says, "Doctor, you've changed my life," that's what they want to hear, and that's the pat on the back that they want to see, and that's how you recommit the passion to them.
I think that if you're not going to ask for the business, then you might as well just stay in the car.
Asking for the business comes in stages, but I think you never get what you never ask for.
You can't be afraid to ask for it because you've earned the right. Once you've earned the right in terms of providing them with the information that they've asked you for, there's nothing wrong with it. And as a matter of fact, it's the only way you're going to grow business.
When I'm asking for the business, I'll do it in a lot of different ways, and hopefully 3 or 4 times during the sales process.
It's one thing to get a commitment from a doctor. It's another thing to hold them accountable, and holding them accountable is actually what gets them to follow through and what results in prescriptions and results in them using more Prozac.
You need to continuously ask for a greater commitment and raise the bar. I think if you're satisfied with just a small percentage of the business, that's all you're going to get.
You don't ever want to merely be considered the best of the best. You want to be considered the only ones who do what you do. And there's nothing wrong with being unique. And if you are unique, you don't ever let anybody come up and try to steal that thunder. You just don't.